Come with me as I cover Middlesbrough at Wembley. Welcome back, and as you can see, once again, we're in the car and we're on the way to quite an interesting place today. We are on the way to Middlesbrough's training ground, Rockcliffe Hall, which is, well, that's next door, scene of the crime. Yes, this is of course where the Southampton intern analyst was spotted and photographed spying on Middlesbrough a couple of weeks ago now. And obviously since then we all know what's happened. Obviously Southampton won the playoff semi-final against Middlesbrough, but then they've since been expelled and had an appeal thrown out. And so it's Middlesbrough who are going to Wembley on Saturday. So we're going now for Kim Hellberg's pre-Wembley press conference. Be very, very interesting to hear him speak after everything that's gone on since that night at St Mary's. Obviously the spying incident happened before the first leg, which was a couple of days before that. So yeah, it's going to be quite something though. But as I say, we are going to the scene of the crime, and as I say, I just think it'd be really interesting to see what Kim Hellberg has to say about it all. Obviously, he's not spoken since the second leg defeat at St Mary's, and he's probably been on a roller coaster of emotions since then. Let's be honest. You know, suddenly thinking Middlesbrough were out, he was unbelievably emotional after that second leg at St Mary's. But now, of course, he's got what? Less than, well, actually I was going to say less than, just over 48 hours, about 50 hours and 25 minutes, I think, if my timing is right, until he leads his team out at Wembley under the arch on Saturday afternoon. Who would have thought that was coming after everything that's happened? It's just quite the most astonishing story in English football, and probably one of the biggest stories for some time in English football as well. It's certainly rocked the core of things a little bit, hasn't it? And I mean, I have my own views on it. I think I made them quite clear in my previous vlog, if I remember rightly. I did say I think Southampton should have been removed, and they have been removed now. Obviously Southampton are not happy about this, why would they be? But that is their prerogative to be upset. But also, you know, it's not their supporters' fault, it's not their players' fault. It's those who knew. It probably means that if found guilty of any wrongdoing or knowledge, the likes of Tonda Eckert and others, well, their position probably becomes untenable, you should imagine. And I would also think that the FA will likely launch investigations into them, in particular him, and you know, that could end up in a ban for English football. One person I do actually feel for is William Salt. And I know I mentioned before scene of the crime, and obviously it was him. He was the one there committing the crime. Obviously not an actual crime, not in terms of, you know, the courts, but a breach, call it that. But we don't know the full workings of what's gone on inside Southampton that's, you know, caused him to be in these situations. And obviously we now know it's not just once. It's, you know, Oxford, Ipswich. There was also supposedly an inside joke running in Southampton of a soldier in camouflage with William Salt's face photoshopped on the front of it, and that was something quite funny. Now we don't know, he might have found that funny, we don't know, but if not, you know, it sort of seems like there was perhaps a power imbalance there. Has he been told to do things and he's just done his job? It's a really hard thing to work out, but I hope he's getting the support that he probably needs at this point. And hopefully, you could argue yes, it might impact his career in football, but depends, you know, what sort of his judgment on the whole situation was. Was he just told to do something and what he thought was just part of his job? We just don't know yet, and I'm sure the written reasons and everything else will come out in due course. But even if they don't, I just hope that he gets the support he needs, if he needs it. But anyway, we are now approaching I should say, the lovely little village of Herworth, which is where Middlesbrough's training ground is located. So let's get in there, see what Kim Helberg has to say just 2 days before he leaves his side out under the arch. Here we are, just parked now at Rockcliffe, heading in to the training ground over there. Big Middlesbrough team coach just there as well. We shall be is the motto. We're just out of Kim Helberg's press conference, and well, I actually really enjoyed that. He was honest, he was open, he was upfront about it all. Of course, you know, there were plenty of questions about Spygate, and also a lot of questions about the match as well. Let's be honest, there is a football match still to be played for Middlesbrough, but now you join me at the scene of the crime. This is where it happened. This is where William Salt was stood when he was spotted filming Middlesbrough's training. I mean, if you look at it, I can understand why he came here. It is obviously, you've got the tree there, but it is a little bit open, isn't it? I think he could have probably done a better job, but obviously, as I mentioned before, I do sort of feel a little bit sorry for him because he's been caught up in all of this. The tree actually has a name, Scott's Pine, but he didn't get away scot-free, that's for sure.
City.
So after all that travelling, all of that build up, we are now finally here at Wembley. The second part of this vlog, what an occasion this promises to be. It's absolutely red hot here in London. It's sweltering. It'll be tough out there on the pitch at Wembley for the Middlesbrough and the whole players, no doubt about that. But it was an easy journey down, drove to Peterborough, and then on the train there into London, and now we're here ready for the action to get underway. Middlesbrough against Hull in the playoff final, and we have just had some news actually that Hull City are going to take some legal action should they not win today. It would have been another can of worms, it would seem. But anyway, we'll focus on the football for now. Obviously, we still don't know what role Hayden Hackney will play today. He'd be in the squad, you'd imagine, but we don't know will he start, will he come off the bench. Sure, he'll play some part, pretty confident of that, but not entirely sure just yet as the way things stand at the moment. Obviously you would have seen some of the shots that I put on from Wembley Way, just how packed it was, lots of Boro, lots of Hull, everyone having fun, but now, as I say, it's just gone past 2 o'clock, an hour and a half until kick-off. The action and the tension, and it's just starting to build a little bit. It's still quite sparsely populated here inside Wembley Stadium, but it's getting there. It's getting there. But anyway, I will check in with you at half time. It's goalless here at half-time at Wembley Stadium. Middlesbrough 0, Hull City 0 in the Championship playoff final. To be honest, not a lot to report on. I think the heat is clearly having an impact on the pace of the play. It's a slow game so far. But having said that, it has been mostly Middlesbrough in terms of attacking and sustaining pressure. They've had the ball in Hull's final third for large parts of this first half, but their final delivery has been lacking a little bit. The only real chances of note, well, they came towards the end of the half. Ollie McBurney, he crashed the header off the Middlesbrough crossbar. Sol Bryn was struggling to get there, so if it had been on target, you never know. And then just minutes later, David Strelic, he fired a shot just wide of the post. Half time then, 0-0, as I say. Not a lot in it so far, but it's there for Boro if they want it. Hull sitting very, very deep for a large part of this game so far. Boro, if they can just get that delivery right in the final third, they can win this game. I'll be back at full time, but for now, it is goalless at half time. Well, it's absolute heartbreak for Middlesbrough. Hull City scored a stoppage time winner. I think 95 minutes were played at the time from Ollie McBurney. He got on the score sheet. The Sol Bryn tried to push away across from the left, but failed to do so convincingly. McBurney was there to turn home the shot and send Hull to the Premier League. To be fair, there was a lot of added time after that because there was an injury before the goal in stoppage time. But ultimately for Boro, it was the story of their season, the story of today. They just couldn't put the ball in the net. They couldn't fashion a good enough chance. And it's cost them. They were the better side today, but ultimately they're the ones going home empty-handed. They're the ones going home with nothing, and it's Hull who are going to the Premier League. Football is a cruel game sometimes, and this exemplifies it. But you've got to score, you've got to take your chances, and ultimately that is what Hull City did. Didn't really have any chances, to be honest, in the second half, but when it came to it, when it mattered, they scored. So full time here in the Championship playoff final, it's Middlesbrough 0, Hull City 1.